just wanted to let you know, Dave, I don't know who's hosting the meeting, but when I get into a little deeper into the conversation, we're going to need to screen share. Now, ask me what that means. I have not a clue.
There's not a problem there, John. What we're going to do is a good member of our club, Bill McElroy, will be overseeing this.
Hey, John.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good. Hey, John, so you want to screen share? Is that what you want to do, sir?
Yes.
I'll make you a co-host.
I'll let you know when we're doing it. It'll be about 2 minutes, 3 minutes into it.
Yeah, in fact, you're a okay. I'll make you.
Now?
I'll make it. I'm going to wait. We're going to do a couple things. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. After the Pledge of Allegiance, I'll make you a co-host. Okay.
Got it. Thanks for that.
Well, we've got, Bill,
Yeah.
after we do the Pledge of Allegiance, we've got 3 or 4 additional things. And then
But he could.
done with the update on the picnic, I think you could put him in the screen share.
Yeah, he can still do a co-host, and he'll screen share when he wants to screen share. Then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We'll just wait. Well, it's 11:57, so we'll wait a few more minutes, and then we'll get started, because I know everybody's time is valuable since we're so busy.
Oh, yeah.
Maria, how is Steve doing?
Come over here, Steve, and tell them how you're doing, dear. So the tavern was yesterday.
I'm right here. How you doing, man?
I am. Fine.
Wow, unbelievable.
I yesterday for 45 minutes, and they let me out at noon, and here I am.
What happened?
Wow, good, Steve. Wonderful.
Yeah. Oh,
Maria,
it was-
what, Steve,
Have our aortic valve replacement.
wow.
And
Treo,
that's
aortic
wonderful. Hooray. You're good to
They
go.
let
you chips?
Long time.
took
They let you
45
chips right away?
What's that? I can't hear the questions. There's a whole bunch of them I hear.
I said to Steve, do they let you eat chips right away?
Oh,
Now back to more
I
Rush.
hate we should. Oh, let me know.
Yeah, can't carry me.
Other than that, I can do anything I want to do. Just can't lift
Awesome.
more than 10 pounds.
And he's planning on launching his boat on Friday.
Well, that's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Just don't
Really?
lift the boat.
What do you haven't done?
I don't know. It's in your driveway, Mike. I mean, you should
I-
know that already.
I've driven it by. I've driven by it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the transom replaced. Had a leak in the transom, so I had it replaced.
Ah, okay.
And you had that done at Overlake?
No, I
Very funny.
Yeah, the $1 million surgery, right?
I tell you, they sure treated me well in Overlake.
Yeah.
I can't say anything bad about the staff or anything. They were just spectacular. They really were.
Great.
Well, you pay enough for the services.
Oh, yeah. You got that
Okay.
right.
It's okay.
You drive a lot and have it done right and gotten out in a hurry instead of waiting a week.
Yeah. Would have been the same, but it would have been another week. So
Yeah.
Great.
Well, anyway, guys, I didn't get any sleep last night, so I'm going to bed. So,
Okay, sleep
I
well.
know.
have a good
Hi,
See you,
Steve.
Steve.
Good seeing you, Steve.
Okay,
go.
so Maria, how's he really doing? Is he driving you nuts?
really well. Oh, not yet. I just got home.
Good. That's really wonderful to hear.
Yes, it is.
So can you guys see the screen or not?
Yeah.
Yes.
We can.
We got it.
A lot of us are not in that picture.
You can go ahead and change your
Yep.
options up there, upper right-hand corner. You can change
I'm kidding.
We had a lot of young members then. Look
Steve,
at the center, they're very childish looking.
This was a troop packing that we did many
Now
years
they're
ago.
just childish.
My hair wasn't gray then.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Well,
The sides were, Bill.
my hair will
Your hair
never.
was gray in college.
got 18 people.
Frank's doing the same thing I am, sitting outside.
I would say what we're going to do is, I like to start these meetings on time. We're already a minute past.
Yes, we are.
I'd like to get it going, please.
Sorry.
Sounds like Big Ben.
Yeah.
Uh, From here, I guess we'll go on to the Pledge of Allegiance. How about that?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't know where you found that one, Bill, but I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Dave, would you mind doing the invocation, please?
Sure, I've got an Irish prayer for us today, submitted by Rotary Club of Phoenix. I happened to find it online. So, as each of us give our own thanks according to our personal persuasions, let us dwell on some thoughts that bind us together. You've blessed us with friends and laughter and fun, with rain that's as soft as the light from the sun. You've blessed us with stars to brighten each night. You've given us help to know wrong from right. You've given us so much. Please, Lord, give us too a heart that is always grateful to you. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I like
Very
that.
good.
Very nice, Bonds. Good work out. And other than our distinguished guest, John Lovick, do we have any other additional guests joining us today? All right.
Is joining us.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes. What was that?
Oh, Amanda is joining us today.
Yes, we know Amanda is, and we've got a little something for Amanda a little bit into the program. So nice to have you, Amanda. I would like to, if I could, turn this over.
Oh, that's different, Amanda.
To if I could, to Mary Kay and Victoria, just a quick update on our drive for food, if I could, please.
Go ahead, Mary Kay. You've got the numbers.
I got the numbers. Well, it was a little disappointing, and we kind of knew that going in the other day. We only brought in 2,134 pounds, and that is a ton of food. We're used to bringing in 2 tons, so it was a little disappointing. So our total overall that we've brought in 8 times is 29,450 pounds. So hopefully we'll get people jazzed up again for next time. It's still almost 15 tons of food, which is amazing. And can I give my other announcement that if you haven't seen it, the Community Service Committee just bought from our funds 2 shelter tents for the food bank. Because when I was there on Monday to deliver some more food, it was hot as blazes and they had no tents. They had those cheapy ones before and they broke. So my husband and I, well, first of all, we made sure our committee was good with it, and I checked the prices, and we ran over to Costco and bought 2 169 square foot tents, and Dee helped put up one of them, and it's on the Facebook page. So thank you for the committee. I'm glad we had some funds that we could do that. They were most grateful to see those on Monday afternoon. So thanks, guys.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yep, that was wonderful. Much needed.
So if I could, I'd like to kind of turn this over to Maria for a few seconds or a minute to cover the upcoming picnic that we were going to do and the happy hour. Want to unmute yourself?
Right. The social that we had tentatively scheduled for August 22nd, we are unfortunately going to have to call off because of the new guidelines for the state for gatherings. But we will get something done somehow, sometime. And our online socials have become extremely popular to the point that we have at least 15 to 18 people coming on. It seems like more every other week when I have it. So let's keep that going for sure.
Yes.
I think that's also just as an update, I did receive something from Rotary International relative to insurance, and Bill had brought this up that it was going to come in, but we are no longer covered, or maybe we never were covered, but we certainly are going to be covered going forward for any suits that might be a result of someone getting COVID-19. So that's going to adjust how we do things in the future as well. We'll have to be very sensitive to the fact that we are not covered. Insurance companies are getting clobbered and they're getting sued like crazy. And so therefore, we don't have it. Just want to give everybody an update on that.
So you're saying that there's people that are going to gatherings and then suing because they're getting COVID? Because
no, what I'm saying, Maria, has nothing really necessarily to do with a specific gathering. What it has to do is insurance companies have a lot of costs involved with this disease, and they're now not including it in their policies. And that is going forward. Is that not correct, Bill?
Yeah, okay.
Based on what I read.
Yeah, it's the hard thing is that if a Rotarian goes to a function and they go to and they take it to another person, another family, and other things like this, but it started from the Rotary function, is that we can be sued, and the insurance won't cover the lawyer bills to begin with. And then there's the fiduciary responsibility that the board has with the personal liability side. And so we got to make sure that we follow the state guidelines specifically. And there's other things that, Jeff Pratt and I have chatted a little bit about having some disclaimers or some things that they can sign, like a lot of the businesses do. And I think also in Washington, D.C., they're talking about having businesses some type of format exemption or whatever going forward because of COVID. So this is a very unique time, and I would always err on the side of caution at this time. So.
Well, thank you, but I appreciate that, Bill. So what we should do now is we should turn this over to John, who's been patiently on the sidelines. I'd like you to mute everybody if you could, Bill, and we'll hear from John Lovick. Quite a career, John. Washington State Patrol for 30 plus years, a member of the House of Representatives, a sheriff of Snohomish County, a member of the always fun Mill Creek Association, and our council rather, and Snohomish County Council as well. So you've had quite a service career, and we look forward to hearing a little bit about you.
Well, thank you, David. And just so you'll know, I was able to sneak 13 years in the Coast Guard. And when I tell people,
that's right. I read that.
Yeah. So when I tell people about my career, 13 years in the Coast Guard and all of the other things that I've been tremendously blessed to do, I've actually had people say to me, "You can't seem to keep a good job." So anyway, that's my one joke for the day. So I was thinking about you guys. Went to your website to look at the great work that you're doing, and I was trying to think of a word that I would use to describe the Mill Creek Rotary, and the word that I found was class. And then I said, "How do you define class?" So I looked up a great definition, and it was a definition by Hall of Fame sports writer Grantland Rice. He said, class is a hard thing to define. He said it could be the swing of a slugger's bat, the lift of a horse's hooves, or the flick of a quarterback's arm. He said, once you see it, you'll never forget it. I'm going to tell you guys something. When I look at all of the work that you're doing, and I was looking at listening to Mary Kay Voss talk about all of the food you raise, and look at all of the great things that you do with the students in this community. You guys are a class act every step of the way. And I hope you'll just give yourselves a big hand for the great work that you do every day. That's what class is all about. So please, for just a second, give yourselves a big hand. Thank you. So thank you for inviting me. And I just hope your day is going well. And thank you for letting me join you. I want to give you just a brief overview of the last legislative session, and it will be very, very brief, and tell you what I will be working on during the 2021 session, and an idea that we're going to be talking about some police reforms, some accountability, and then talk about the racial divide that we are experiencing. And I hate to say this, I really do, because at this time in my life, at this time in this world, I hate to say that we are in a deep racial divide at the moment. And then I'm going to share with you a few things that I've experienced. And when I share these things, I hope you will know I'm not sharing them to make anybody feel bad. I'm just going to share with you some experiences that I've had. And then I'm going to tell you a quick story about how someone stepped into my life. And when he stepped into my life, he allowed me to be able to spend 13 years in the Coast Guard, to join the legislature, to spend time on the Mill Creek City Council and on the State Patrol, and become sheriff of the county. And then finally, what I want to do is, I don't think it serves any of us, serves any good if we talk about a problem without at least suggesting some solution. So I'm going to give you a few thoughts that I have, that I believe that we can end this racial divide, or at least try and address the racial divide. So I hope you'll be patient with me. I know that tension is very high at the moment. We're dealing with a global pandemic, social unrest, and economic uncertainty. So for me, and maybe for you, it takes a lot of courage from all of us not to be discouraged during this time in this world. So I'll start by telling you what the short session was about. It was basically about looking at our budget, making sure that we got us through June 30th of 2021. So what we did, probably the most important thing we did, was just before we left, we knew that the global pandemic was upon us. We put $200 million in the budget to help businesses and individuals address the downfall. So that was probably the number one thing that we did. As far as what I am working on when I go back to Olympia, we're going to be working a lot on law enforcement reform. And we're calling it an evolution of policing. And I want you to know this, you will never hear me use the term defund policing. I don't believe in that. I don't think that that's what we should be doing. I tell people every day, I was just on a long call with the Council of State Government, and I told them that 99.9% of our police officers go out there every single day and work their tails off to keep us safe in our homes, on our streets, and to protect our children in their schools. And we're going to reimagine policing. We're going to do some law enforcement. We're going to have an evolution of law enforcement, but not defunding. So with that, I'm going to give you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Louisiana. And the first school that I attended was a school called Gooch Elementary School. I'm sorry, it was called Gooch Junior High School. This is when I need to share the screen with you. The first school that I attended was a school called Gooch Junior High School. When I went from Gooch, and I'm trying to navigate these things, when I went from Gooch, the next school that I attended was called Allen High School for Negroes. Now I know you're going to think it couldn't possibly call a school Allen High School. The picture you see on the screen was the school that we attended. There were about 250 kids at this school. I showed this school to my kids and they say, Dad, that wasn't the school. There were about 250 of us at that school. That was Gooch Junior High School. They later turned it into, as you can see, a service center. And the next school was called Allen High School for Negroes. In addition to being a cesspool of hatred, in Louisiana, segregation was simply the law of the land. Other than the people that I worked with every day, that was planting, chopping, and picking cotton, I never in my life had a conversation with a white person during my 12 years of school, never did. And I know you'll find that hard to believe. Many of the businesses in our community had a situation where blacks had to enter through the back door. In movie theaters, you sat in the colored section of the movie theater upstairs, and in the colored section, there were 2 or 3 rows at best. and all public buildings had colored water fountains and colored restrooms. If you rode on a bus, you rode in the back of the bus. So it wasn't anything unexpected. So I didn't know anything different. It was just the way society was. For some reason, people did everything they could to make you believe that you did not count. And I want you to remember that statement because I'm going to share something with you later on before I end this conversation. But in Louisiana, when I was growing up, you never had the opportunity to express your anger. And the truth of the matter, for me personally, it never really upset me that much what we were dealing with because that was the way I thought it was. But I couldn't sleep at night watching how my grandparents were treated. I can remember my grandfather, if we went downtown, we would be walking downtown Natchitoches, Louisiana. He would actually step off the sidewalk if a white person walked toward him and take his hat off and pretty much bow. That was just the way it was. So it wasn't a big deal to me. That was the way life was. So I joined the Coast Guard in 1970, and I was immediately thrust into a society that I was not familiar with. I want to share with you 3 things that shocked me instantly. The first thing I did was I took a car to the airport, and from Houston, I flew in an airplane to Oakland, California, and flew in a helicopter from Oakland to Alameda, and then took a short bus ride to boot camp at Governor's Island. So I did all of those things. I did all of those things in the same day. My first shock came when I stepped off the helicopter and got on a bus in Alameda. I immediately walked to the back of the bus. And the bus driver stopped me. There were 4 of us, and he told us, he said, you have to sit in the first 4 seats of the bus. So on March 27th, 1970, was the first time in my life that I sat next to a white person on a bus, March 27th of 1970. The second shock came to me was when we got off the bus, we were marched to a supply room, and the supply clerk actually had us strip off our clothes, measured our arms, our chest, our waist, and you know the routine if you've been in the military, and he handed me a shirt to try on and a pair of pants. And I was somewhat stunned because in Louisiana, the part of Louisiana that I grew up in, you never tried on clothes. You would walk in the store, tell them what your size was, and they would hand you a pair of pants, a pair of shoes, and you never tried them on. So I was shocked having to deal with that. The third shock came when the Coast Guard commander, a man by the name of Chief Petty Officer Robert Miller, walked up to me in boot camp and he says, "Where are you from?" And I told him I was from Natchitoches, Louisiana. And he said, "Where in the hell is Natchitoches, Louisiana?" And I tried to explain it to him. He said, "Well, big deal." He said, "You're going to be the assistant recruit company commander." So I go from having never worked with white people in my life to being somewhat in charge. You'll see in the front row, there I am, the second person from the right, to somewhat being in charge of the company. We started out in boot camp with 50 guys, graduated like 47, but it was the first time in my life that I had been treated as an equal by anyone. Because in the military, everyone is treated pretty much the same. And I have to put it this way, you're pretty much treated like crap, and then they build you up and treat you, make you feel like you're a part of the team. So after boot camp, I got out of boot camp and my best buddy and I flew back to Houston, and we were wearing our uniform as proud as you could be. You could see me in uniform there. And we went to a little town that we were raised in Louisiana. And you talk about a culture shock. We were walking around saying hi to all of the neighbors, all of the friends. People were so proud of us to see us both in uniform. He was in the Air Force, I was in the Coast Guard. But at the middle of the day, we decided to go to a movie. So we went to a little movie theater that we had gone to many times. And we had sat in the colored section of the theater. So we walked in, purchased our ticket for 50 cents, because if you were in uniform, the ticket was 50 cents. We went to see the movie Patton. If you remember the movie Patton, starring George C. Scott. He looked just like George Patton. So we walked in, purchased our tickets for 50 cents, stood in line, and when we walked up to the front of the line, the man looked at us. We had our uniform on, and he said pretty much, and I'm going to say this in a way that I hate to say it, but you fellas, I'll say fellows, but he used a word that wasn't very, very kind. It was pretty much, he said, you boys have to sit in upstairs. So we sat in the colored section of a movie theater in our military uniform. You talk about a gut punch. And I think the thing that I walked away from there with more than anything else was my disappointment was to just even think that I would be treated differently in 1970 in Louisiana. So that was the first part of my life and my career. So I finished my obligation with the Coast Guard and started with the Washington State Patrol in 1974. I was one of 10 Black members of the State Patrol, a force of 700 members. And what I tell people all the time is this: I absolutely loved going to work every single day of my life. Loved going to work, but it was very, very difficult being at work. It was very, very difficult being treated differently. And the reason I say that is that it was during the difficult times of the 70s, 74, 75, when there was not a lot of respect. It didn't matter what you did, how hard you worked. There was not a lot of respect for members of the minority community. I could tell you more than a few times I would try and go out to coffee with guys that I worked with. And I'm not saying this again, I want to say this, not saying this for any form of sympathy. I'm tremendously blessed now, but I would call guys to, after working 4-hour shift, to ask if we could go to coffee together. A person would just simply say right over the radio, no, I'm not available at the moment. A minute later, another trooper would call him and they would go out to coffee. Those were just the things that you had to deal with. So I'm going to move forward to a little bit of a disappointment that I had in terms of running for office, and where I will show you where we still have this divide. 2 years ago, and I won't give you the name of the agency. 2 years ago, I was a state representative, and I was going in front of a fairly large law enforcement agency to ask for their endorsement. Now, when I walked in, this is what I said. This is how I introduced myself. I said, I'm John Lovick. I spent 13 years in the Coast Guard, 31 years with the Washington State Patrol. I was on the Mill Creek City Council for 5 years. I've been in the legislature for 12 years. I was a county sheriff for 5.5 years. And I was a county executive for 2.5 years. And I ended it by saying, I'm the world's proudest husband, father, and grandfather. And I said, if you find anybody with a resume better than that, that's probably the person that you should vote for. Now, if we're playing basketball, in basketball terms, that would be a slam dunk or an endorsement. In baseball terms, I think it would be a grand slam. But let's just wait for a second. I stood there as a 66-year-old man, old man, 66 years old, and was lectured just like I was a 12-year-old. I had participated in legislation that had to deal with police accountability. That was an initiative of the people, Initiative I-40. And I was lectured like I was a kid walking out of a candy store with maybe no shirt on. I sat there and I watched our prosecuting attorney, Adam Cornell, walk in and pretty much give his resume, and he was treated very respectfully. The reason I share that story with you is this. My takeaway from the endorsement process with them was that if they could treat me, a grown man, with my resume like that, think about how other people could get treated. Now, I have a pretty good resume. So that was my takeaway from that. How do you think they would treat someone else? I only tell you that story to say this. When I talk about the racial divide we are dealing with, this is what is causing the racial divide. Now I'm going to jump off of probably the negative things that you've heard to share a tremendously positive story with you. And I'll make this really quick because I know hopefully there will be some questions. When I started my career with the Washington State Patrol in 1974, and we were all set to go to the State Patrol Academy to become troopers, There was a lot of tension in the State Patrol because the State Patrol hired a lot of people, and then they would select members to go to the academy based on your qualifications. So when they selected 36 members to go to the academy, 3 of those members were African Americans. And all hell broke loose throughout the state of Washington when the word got out that 3 African Americans would be attending the State Patrol Academy class. So we show up at the academy. Tension was as thick as it could be. The word got around that it was an affirmative action class, that we were only there because the money was funded through affirmative action and that we weren't going to be there long. So we go in the classroom, and one of the instructors told us to sit in the classroom. And he said, when you see an instructor walk in, we were in our dress school uniform. He said, when you see an instructor walk in, call the class to attention. I'll make this really quick because I want you to hear this story. So one instructor walked in, and the class was called to attention, and he walked in and he just stared at the class just like we had fallen off of a turnip truck. He walked over in the middle to the center of the classroom, and he called one member's name. His name was Lauren Denzi. He said, stand up. So Lauren, a black member of the class, stood at attention, and he stared at Lauren just like he pretty much had a tail. He walked over to the left side of the class, and he saw a gentleman by the name of Darrell Russell. He said, stand up, Russell. And he just stared at him up and down. I'm sitting at my desk, quite nervous, shaking in my pants. And I say shaking in my pants, I'm cleaning it up a little bit for the audience. He walked over to me and he looked at me and he said, stand up. And I stood at attention, and he stared at me up and down. He walked over to the door and he opened the door. And the only thing I could think about was, here we are, the first minute of the first hour, the first day of the State Patrol Academy, and they're going to kick us out of here on the first day. He told the rest of the classmates, he said, I want you guys to take a good look at these men. And everybody turned and stared. He said, no, take a good look at these men. And everybody turned and looked at us. He said, if you see anything other than a blue uniform, get the hell out of here and don't come back. Anything other than a blue uniform. The class continued, and I'm speaking really fast because I know I'm running out of time. The class continued. I called him up 30 years later and asked him why he did what he did, if he remembered it. And he said, yes, he had retired. He was living in Virginia. And this is what he told me. I asked him if he remembered what he did the day our academy class showed up. He said, I remember just like it was yesterday. And he said, it scared the hell out of me. So I said, sir, why did you do it? He said, coward and integrity. Now quickly, I can't put coward and integrity in the same sentence and have it work. I said, coward and integrity? He said, I knew when your class was coming to the academy. I heard things said that I'd never heard said about an academy before, and I knew they were false. I knew they weren't true. He said, I said nothing and I did nothing. And for that, I was a coward. He's not a coward. And then he said, somebody had to protect the integrity of the hiring process of the State Patrol, the integrity of the hiring process. I'm going to end by saying this. All of the great work that you guys are doing every single day in the community, all of the things that you do, all of the things that you're working on for racial reconciliation, all of the things that you are doing is protecting the integrity of everything we do. Thank you. I hate I had to talk so fast. I would love to take any questions right now. Thank you.
That was outstanding, John. It came from the heart, and those are always the best stories and often have the most integrity.
I would love to hear a question or two.
I got one for you, just one. You've lived in Mill Creek how many years?
27 years now.
Why aren't you in the Mill Creek Rotary?
You know, that's a great question. I was a while back, and I was so busy, and let me get an application. I see so many people on there that I know, that I love, and I think it would be very, very good. I think it would be great I love organizations like this, and I just love the great work that you guys do every day.
It'll be coming your way, John, and thank you for committing. Thank you.
Thank you guys for all that you do. David.
Yes, Mr. Bondo.
Well, I had the same thought. So thank you, Dave, for jumping out there and inviting John. In your picture of your Coast Guard class there's a guy in the middle with a black eye. How do you get that black eye? Or is that just an ink blotch?
That's a good question. It was actually the type of glasses they would reflect down. His name was Paco. I can't remember his first name, but he was a great guy. One of my dearest friends going through the academy. And we harassed him all the time because his glasses would change in the sunlight.
Yes, Mike Malahan.
John, thank you very much for your service and everything that you've done for us. What was your favorite job? Where did you enjoy the most and get the greatest joy from?
I'll tell you my favorite, and then I'll also tell you my least favorite. My favorite was being a sergeant with the State Patrol. People came to work every day. They just, I tell stories about how I had the best 9 men and women in my crew, and they came to work every day, and they just came out to serve the public. That was my favorite. I'll be honest with you, my least favorite was that of county executive. It was just a dog-eat-dog world there. It was just a dog-eat-dog world there. You worked with people that would just cut you. I hate to say it. I'll just leave it at that. It was a very, very difficult job to do.
Yes, Tom Betts. Who's not on mute there? We got to mute somebody there.
Hi, John. Thank you for your presentation today. My question to you is, are you still the king of deep fried turkey?
I am. And you know what I'm going to do, Tom? I've done about 4,000 obviously down at Cairo. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, we just bought a new freezer. I'm looking at it now. I'm going to do one on, I'm going to go through the whole process of throwing one out, mixing the sauce, showing how it's cooked. We're going to put it on our Facebook, on our website in about the middle of October. So yes, I'm still the king.
Outstanding.
Yep. Love cooking those.
Yes, Mr. Brennan.
Hey, John, thanks a lot for your talk there. You mentioned solutions to the racial problems we have today going on. Yep. Could you throw out a few more solution ideas that you have?
So thank you, Jeff. So, a lot of times we listen to people and this is what I'm seeing now. This is different, guys. I want you to know this is not like it's been in the past. You probably see Congressman John Lewis behind me, and I sat in his office 2 years ago, and he just passed away a few days ago. But I was reading a great article by a lady, and I'll just give you 2 that she said. Her name is Katrina Alvarez. She said, manage yourself. And what she basically said is, she said, commit yourself to awareness, commit to educating yourself, and be willing to reduce your defenses. Your ego will take a hit, except that you're going to find out that you're wrong about things you've professed as truth. You have to be okay with sitting with some discomfort. And in essence, she basically talked about be comfortable with the fact that you're going to be uncomfortable. And then the other one, and I'll just give you 2 of them. She says, manage your immediate sphere of influence. This means your household, family, spouse, friends, and children. Think about how to convey the message of we are all in this together. And that's just kind of the essence of what she said. Because what I am seeing, Jeff, and as I go around, I am seeing these young people get involved. I have grandkids now, 5 grandboys. I'm seeing these young people get out there, and they're going to push us out of the way. They are, because they've gone through this before, and we can't go through this divide that we've gone through. We can't continue this way. So if we don't do something, and I'm sorry I'm talking so loud, but if we don't do something, these young people are going to do it for us. And that's just what I feel right now.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John. Any other questions for John?
I got a hand raised by Jeff's iPhone. I don't know who Jeff's iPhone is.
That's me, Jeff Byer.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, John, welcome. Thank you for coming to our Rotary. Appreciate you being my neighbor for the last 15 years or so,
yes.
16 years. And I think one of the things, if I'm not mistaken, aren't you part of the Lions Club also? So I've seen that. Yeah, so I know you are involved, so don't feel that not being in the Rotary is a failing on your part.
No, I am.
And one thing, when we first met, one of the first years our neighborhood got together, we came out for what's called First Night. Would you mind explaining that to the group a little bit, kind of what that is? Because that made an impact on me, and that was the first time I'd heard of that.
Hey, why don't you, Jeff? Because I for some reason I'm drawing a blank, and I hate to say that.
Oh, okay. So I think it was when we were honoring one of our neighbors that had passed away.
Oh,
and
yeah, Ralph.
And no, actually before Ralph. It was like 15 years ago.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Anyways, basically it was the Emancipation Proclamation from Lincoln freed the slaves of the South. But it didn't completely free everybody. But then there was what's called First Night, which was in Texas, which is when basically
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, right?
Juneteenth.
Okay, I thought that was called First Night. I guess
it's Juneteenth. Juneteenth. Yes.
Okay, my apologies.
That's okay. No. Juneteenth. I'll tell you, Jeff. And we did a Zoom meeting to celebrate Juneteenth. Juneteenth is a great celebration back in Texas. And we actually had a resolution, and we're probably going to eventually celebrate Juneteenth, make it a state holiday eventually here. And it basically says, if you remember, General Gordon Granger showed up in Galveston, Texas on June 19th of 1865, telling the last of the slaves that they were. And I'm really sorry, but my great-great-grandfather, Tom Holden, was born a slave. And he was 103 when he died, and he used to share stories with us that he had. I'm sorry. But he would share stories with us that he had some brothers and sisters that he said he actually never met. But he was born in 1863. So anyway, I'm really sorry. Go ahead.
No reason to be sorry.
But I was just going to say this real quick. When I was in the 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, the teachers used to bring my great-great-grandfather, Tom Holden, to our school every year. And it was just interesting. And he died in 1965, but it was really interesting watching how the teachers would make sure he came to the school because they wanted to have that connection to that history. Really sorry. Anyway, sorry about that, guys.
John, there's no reason to be sorry. We thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We are going to get you in the club, and you're going to have a double duty. It's called Lions, and it's going to be called Mill Creek Rotary.
Okay.
You're going to be a part of.
Thank you, guys.
Very much for your time, John.
Hey, can I just say this? I just want to suggest that we start an epidemic, and I think you guys are doing an epidemic of love, understanding, compassion. And I think that if we do that, if we can do some of those things, we're going to be okay. And I'll just say this one more time. The young people are watching us. They are. I don't know how many. If you're seeing what I'm seeing, these young people are pushing us right now. Thank you, guys.
Again, thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right. So I guess we're going to move on to announcements, and I'd like to announce Danielle, who's got an announcement to make.
Hey everyone.
Hi, Danielle.
I'm just wanted to announce that we have our newest Paul Harris Fellow, Mary Kay Voss. Let's all give her a big silent round of applause. I don't have any presentation for her because we're all still not meeting in person, but at some point we will get her everything over to her. And so thank you, Mary Kay, for your devotion to the Rotary Foundation, and can't wait to present the next one. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate that. We have another announcement from Dave Bondo, or Bonds, as he's like to be known.
You mean as you like to call me?
I can call you a lot of stuff.
Okay, I'd like to talk about Amanda Flores at this moment, if I may. Amanda is the beautiful wife of Jeffrey Flores, who's been a member of our club for, I think, about a year now, if I'm not mistaken. And Amanda and Jeffrey live in Lake Stevens, and I spoke with Amanda this morning and got a little bit of background. So she actually is from East Wenatchee, went to Eastmont High School, the home of the Wildcats. And Amanda was actually the Wildcat at her high school, and dressed up in a Wildcat uniform and, you know, jumped around at the basketball games. And I don't know, we didn't get into whether or not she could do backflips or anything like that. But as she's written in her application here, she's happily married to Jeffrey. Growing up in Wenatchee, we enjoyed a lot of outdoor activities, especially camping. My casino dealer career brought me to the greater Mill Creek area, where I've been for 14 years. Yes, Amanda is a casino dealer, and so I would expect she has a few cards up her sleeve. Outside of her casino work, business adventures span several areas of interest, including housing rehabs, retail gifts, food vending and food trucks. She's an avid crafter and deal hunter with a passion for giving back. And in fact, I asked her why she was interested in Rotary, and she says, I like helping people. And it seems to me like, you know, you're a fun, great group. So she's looking forward to being a part of what we do. She's been an administrator for the Buy Nothing Project. It's actually a hub on the internet where people who you basically can give stuff away, or if you're looking for a wheelbarrow or something, Mac, you could probably go on there and someone would be willing to give you one. She's also been a foster parent, worked with the clothing bank, and works with families in need without the community through direct giving and working with the food bank. So I'd like to introduce to all of you, please, our newest member, Amanda Flores. I've asked her to say a word or two, so Dave, if you'll make sure she's unmuted.
Hi, thanks guys. I really look forward to joining everybody. It's been a lot of fun. I've been helping out with the food bank, doing the collections, and it's really been a lot of fun, and I really like what this group does. I'm always looking for new adventures, and Jeff and I always are looking for new things around the corner. It's a constant for us. Things are always ever evolving. Jeff actually literally does the math in his sleep. Some people talk in his sleep. He works on the next deal. He'll be spouting out numbers. That's our life. It's fun. We like helping people.
Well, congratulations, man. It's nice to have you on board.
I see a casino night in our future.
I couldn't agree more, and I hope it's sooner than later. Any other announcements? Bill, did you have something you wanted to discuss?
Sure. I think a lot of the board members received a notice. This is something that I've been working in with the district now for a year, and I had a chance to talk with David and Victoria about this. Our club is so active. It's got a lot of things moving and a lot of moving parts right now. We have the Goodwill starting right now with the Tom and Jeff, and also with Dave Bono. We got the video ask. We got Raise to Paddle. I call it Raise to Paddle with the auction. We have the membership drive that's going to be kicking off here. We have the food drive by Mary Kay. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. And with moving parts, what happens is that we've got a lot of different people putting out these emails and social media posts and things like that. And it just needs a little coordination with the chairs. And Vicki and Dave asked me to go ahead and kind of help coordinate this a little bit. It's something I'm doing at the district level too. And it's so important because we need to really maximize what our media does. And I'll give you I'll give you a couple of examples. First example is the Peoria House. Great project, fantastic. We had it posted on Facebook, but at the same time, we should have maybe just said, hey, this is Peoria House. This is what we're doing. If you're interested, please, or finding out more information, or actually you want to be a new member, go here, find out more information. So in other words, it's maximizing what we do in social media. It's maximizing what we do in emails. I don't know, a lot of the new members might not even know what our slogan is. It's passion for service. This should be on every single email, every single correspondence, and it should have some type of link that goes to invite people to get more information. So it's more or less of a coordinated overall effect. I'm not going to be on any committee. I'm just kind of putting together the heads of somehow trying to organize all these emails that are going out, because of, as Bono actually just said, you know, I'm going to be sending out emails. Mary Kay's sending out emails. We've got emails sending out by Danny, for instance. We've got all these emails going out, and we need to be concise on our communication structure and what the public is seeing and how we maximize it. And so I'll be going through that. I'm really open for any suggestions or help here, because it's more of a team type coordination type of effect. Nothing's really changing that much. It's just a matter of a coordination. And so I'm open. My phone's always open as always. And so I just wanted to give you an update of what I've been asked, and I've gone ahead and said, yes, I'll do this by Vicki and also with President Dave.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We can discuss this more as you do a Zoom meeting with those that
yeah.
like to be involved.
Yeah.
Any other announcements? Oh, it looks like it's time for Happy Bucks. All right. Yes, Ron. Mute yourself or unmute yourself. You're still muted.
I just had a request here from Bill. Are you going to send out a letter describing our next food collection? And I'd appreciate having that, because what I do is I take that letter and I bought 100 grocery bags, and I stapled it on the outside of the bag, put a little rubber band through a hole in the bag, and hang it on the door of every person in the neighborhood. And that's gotten pretty good response. If we all did that, we'd have a huge response.
What's up?
So if you could send me that letter, that would be really nice. What do you think?
Ron, I'll get that to you. Vicki helps put together a flyer every time. So we will make sure you get it with plenty of time to pass that out. And that is a phenomenal marketing idea.
Yeah, works great.
Hey, Dave, I had an announcement. Sorry, I was having trouble getting my video back on. So you guys, our giving site is live. So I haven't seen a lot of people sharing it on their social media yet. So please share it. It's on our Rotary of Mill Creek Facebook page. It's on our Rotary of Mill Creek Instagram page. I've shared it on my personal page. I'm friends with most of you. Please share it. Ask your friends, family, and our past donors to donate so that we can get our donations. I think we're at $1,200 right now raised. That's, 1% of what we want to get to. So let's share it and see if we can make that happen. And I think that we're going to sell 4-pack mystery bottles of wine on August 15th. Jeff Brennan, I'm just making that the date. I will work up an advertisement for it. We can only sell it on one day. We have 25 boxes, mystery boxes of wine that are prepped and ready for sale and delivery. So please share that when it shows up on social media as well. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you, Danielle. Rick?
Yeah, I have a question for Danielle there. The letter she sent out the other day, or the email, I couldn't get the video link to work. I was going to send it out to a bunch of friends, but I couldn't get the video to work. So I thought maybe you could resend it or check, see if it's working.
I will send another email with all of my stuff. Bill McElroy is in charge of the video. It's embedded in our giving site, and that seems to be working. So hopefully,
We'll get together on all this stuff, make sure we're packaging it up where, because I had the same situation, Danielle, but it might have been different, to something else we put out. So I think once the group kind of gets this button down, everybody will make sure those things are covered and they go out are not a problem.
right, and that's fine. We don't want to be fundraising for the entire year, so it would be nice to be able to have a big push for this coming month so that we can earn our funds for this year's Rotary.
Yes, Mary Kay.
One thing you can do is I have posted on my Facebook page the video, and all you do is click, and the donation link. So if you want to just share what's on my Facebook page, you can do that, and it'll put it on yours.
Okay. All right. Happy Bucks. Oh yes, Victoria. You're muted. You were mute. There you go.
No.
Nope, you're still muted. There you go. No, you're muted.
There, I don't like to be unmuted because I always have too much to say. Anyway, I have $15 for Happy Bucks. One, Mary Kay, welcome to Paul Harris. It's a wonderful honor, and I'm so glad that you are now one. And Amanda, welcome. We just are so glad that you're going to be our new member. We already know what you do. You're fabulous, and we're really happy for that. And I have $5 for John Lovick's talk. When he showed the photo of that grade school junior high that he went to, breaks my heart. And that so proud that he is what he's done a lot for us. And so thank you very much. Mike's gone because his contractor arrived, but I'm glad that he suggested him to come and talk to us.
Yep.
$15.
Gotcha. Yes, Maria.
I have $50 for Happy Talk today.
Wow.
And John, under normal circumstances, you would have been the highlight of my day and certainly helped to make it the highlight. But my husband's very successful surgery was the highlight. And tomorrow is my birthday, so that was really great. Fantastic present. And then my daughter informed me yesterday that she has instructed NASA to launch the Perseverance rover tomorrow morning at 10 minutes to 8 for me. I asked if they might launch it a little bit later so it's too early. She said no. Anyhow,
That's good.
That's my
All right.
50 bucks.
Well, thank you so much. Dave Mondo. You're muted.
I have $5 because I'm finally out of the doghouse with my wife. For years, she's wanted a drip system for all of her plants and stuff around the house. And just my luck, I ran into a guy that's just starting an irrigation business. He's been in charge of the landscaping here at the point and has been in charge of all of the irrigation that's going on here. But he started his own business, and I asked him, and he's got us set up not only with drips on all of the plants and stuff around the house, but now my wife can turn it on and off from her iPhone. So I've gone from goat to hero in one short week.
Thank
so
you.
It's probably worth more than like $10. So let's make it $10.
Okay, yes, Rick?
Yeah, I got $5 today. Congratulations, Mary Kay, and congratulations, Amanda, for being our newest member. And I'm missing my hydroplane races this year. I got my hydroplane shirt on today, but I've watched a lot of races over the last 70 years, and I'll miss them this year.
That's too bad. Dave Gunter, you're up.
Hey, $5 today for John Lovick. Growing up in the South, we caught that at the very end, but I went to school at a high school only the second year after the two high schools combined. So we got through it smoother than a lot of places did, but you know, it was a tough time to live through, even part at the end. And I have a few bad experiences myself because, you know, the kids, it was all in the papers and stuff at the time. And all of us kids, when we got together in school, and especially started playing football together and stuff, we all got along just fine, you know, and it was, but when you would have a bunch of kids in a car together and someone would be black and someone would be white, you'd go places and people would threaten you, you know, and lucky for us, nothing ever seriously happened. But, you know, I can't imagine some of the things that he may have went through in his life. And so there's some money from him. And also, Maria, was your daughter on TV this morning? They had someone from NASA who was supposedly talking about the launch, a young woman. Was that your?
Actually, no, she's not quite a public speaker. She doesn't like doing that, but no, she's Aerojet. She does the rocket thrusters.
Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, that's me.
Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Very nicely put. Tom Betts.
Yes, I have $4 to contribute today for Happy Bucks. I filed my income taxes on July the 15th. I got my refund yesterday.
Wow.
So I'm contributing $4 because that's what my refund was for, $4.
Big spender. Hey. Cliff, you're up. You gotta unmute.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I'll throw in $10 today for Happy Bucks. It is truly humbling to hear stories like John Lovick's and what he was just sharing briefly about his grandfather. I grew up on the left coast here. It's hard to even fathom that really happened within my lifetime. I mean, I was born in 1967, so it is just hard to understand that really happened in our country just not that long ago. It's just mind-numbing to me. So that was a pretty moving speech by John. He's one of the few Democrats that I vote for. So there's my $10.
Anybody else up here? Oh, yes, Mary Kay.
Okay, $10 for a couple things. One is I am so delighted to see Amanda now as a member because she has been a helper for 8 drives. Well, I gave her the day off last week, but that doesn't count. And also I'm super happy because our house has been painted. That was a nice achievement, and the patio has been done. So we're getting through those big projects that get put off for years and years and years, and then they finally get done. So I'm happy for that. And I'm just happy to be here. And it was nice that John shared those experiences because for those of us who grew up in the South, I remember the colored water fountains and the colored, you know, restrooms and all those sort of things. And so I appreciate his perspective on those times. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Yes, Amanda. Oh, I'll get you next, Dr. Joe. Yes, Amanda. You gotta unmute. There you go.
I'd just like to do $10 for Happy Bucks. Thanks for having me, and it was a great speaker today.
Welcome. Joe, sorry, I missed the corner there.
That's okay. The new members always take precedent.
Absolutely.
Welcome, Amanda. I'd like to give $5. Welcome, Amanda. And also, I miss all you guys. It's been a couple weeks since I've been attending, so I miss you guys. And I officially have my first teen driver now as of this week. My daughter finally passed her driving test, so next couple weeks you might want to stay off the roads.
It's nice to see you, Joe.
You too.
Yes, Mr. Malahan, Dr.
I think one of the great things to be a part of Rotary is to hear speakers like John Lovick and it's just a beautiful thing. So I'm glad that Amanda was here today to be a part of that. I welcome her to the club. I hope we can all make John proud, and hopefully we can get him to become a member. I'm putting in $10. I have a sad buck to say that my Sounders are out of the MLS's back bubble tournament, but I'm still watching all the games and cheering against Portland every chance I can. So,
good man. Yes, Pam, when you're ready.
I heard.
Thank you. Well, first of all, John Lovick, yeah, you touched a lot of people's hearts. I commend you for your service and what you have done over the years. I'm still looking for the answer to the $30 car tabs, though. Okay, so start working on that one.
Hey, you noticed he jumped off the Zoom call.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, congratulations, Mary Kay, my friend. Kudos to you. Amanda, I can't say enough how excited I am for you and Jeff to get your hands involved with this Rotary, and come on, let's make some stuff happen here. All right, so $5.
Yes, Dr. Malahan again. More money.
I want to say that Jeff was inducted into Rotary on a Wednesday. The very next Saturday, he was working with us at Peoria Home. So he jumped right on in.
Absolutely.
Started helping out. So, Amanda, you got big shoes to fill, but I think you can do that. I also wanted to give an extra $5 to Steve Matthews' good outcome on his aortic valve replacement. So great to hear that. So I'm 15 in.
Okay. Yes, Mr. McElroy.
Well, I got $10. Amanda, congratulations. This is a fun club, and I can't wait to be able to go ahead and see you in person and enjoy the group here. I got $5 for John Lovick. We usually see him about once every 4 years when he goes through election. So it was nice to have him speak, completely different from the heart. And part of that $5 is because it's about time we asked him. It took Dave Minks to go ahead and just twist his arm and ask him to become a Rotarian. So anyway, so that's it was a good, it was just a nice way how John was able to talk about his past. It is an eye opener as always. So thank you.
Okay, well, I've got a few bucks that I'd like to give. It's nice that Steve made it through the procedure without issue, which is great news. Amanda on board is a double treat, and I got two of the fours on the team, which is great. And then also to Mary Kay for becoming a Paul Harris inductee. So it's been a great day. And I thought, John, I got to tell you something. Reach out to John. I kind of gave him a couple of things out of the way. I'd like to have him kind of go into the meeting. And he was awesome. The story of his life is awesome. It really is kind of rags to great success. He was very humble today. And when he started talking about his great-great-grandfather, it just was telling you how deep it was in his heart. So I thought that was great today. So I'd say it's time to shake it up and do the 4-way test. What do you say?
Okay.
Really have to read
Okay.
it?
What's that?
We really have to read it?
No, you don't. You can just leave.
No, we know it by now.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, well, not everybody's been, in the club all that long. The 4-way test of the things we think and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And with that, we adjourn. Thank you. Great day. Enjoy.
It is.
Hey, do we have somebody coordinating the donations for the Goodwill auction?